The rain had just stopped, leaving the city streets gleaming under the evening lights. It was supposed to be a quiet celebration. Commander Marcus Thorne, a man who had faced down warlords and navigated terrorist-infested waters, felt a different kind of nervousness tightening his chest. Tonight, he was just a man taking his wife to dinner. Stay tuned, and let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to subscribe to Black Truth Edition on YouTube for social justice stories like this. Let's get into it. He stood outside Versailles, one of the city's most exclusive restaurants, its doors framed in polished brass. Beside him, his wife, Lena, squeezed his arm. "Stop fidgeting," she whispered, her eyes sparkling. "You face Seal Hell Week. You can handle an anniversary dinner." Marcus smiled, the expression feeling unfamiliar on his face, which was still etched with the fatigue of a 9-month deployment. He wasn't in uniform. He wore a simple, well-fitting navy polo shirt and dark trousers. After months of combat gear, the soft cotton felt like a luxury. He wanted to be Marcus Thorne, the husband, not Commander Thorne, the Navy SEAL. This fragile piece shattered the moment they approached the host stand. The maitre d', a man in his 50s named Henri Laurent with a posture so rigid it seemed painful, looked him up and down. His eyes, cold and assessing, lingered on Marcus, then on Lena, then back to Marcus. The unspoken judgment was a physical force. "Do you have a reservation?" Laurent asked, his voice a blend of full politeness and clear disdain. "We do," Lena said, her voice bright, choosing to ignore the tone. "Under Thorne, for 7:30. Laurent made a show of consulting his leather-bound book. He scanned the list once, then again, slower. He clicked his tongue. "I'm sorry. I have no Thorne here. You must be mistaken." "I confirmed it this afternoon," Lena said, her smile faltering. "Then you confirmed with the wrong establishment," Laurent said, closing the book with a definitive snap. "I'm afraid we are fully committed for the evening. You could try the bistro down the street. It's more your speed." The insult hung in the air, toxic and familiar. Marcus felt the old anger, the one he had to keep locked down tight in the field, begin to simmer. He took a slow, deliberate breath. "Check again," Marcus said, his voice low and even. "Thorne. Thorne." Laurent's lips curled into a faint, condescending smile. "Sir, I have checked. We have a very particular ambience to maintain. Now, I must ask you to step aside. You are blocking the entrance for my paying guests." That was the trigger. The blatant disrespect. The dismissal of his wife. Marcus's training screamed at him to de-escalate, but this was a different kind of battlefield. He reached for his wallet, not for cash, but for the small, hard plastic card that defined another part of his life. He placed his military common access card, CAC, on the polished wood of the podium. "Scan it," he said, his voice dropping to a tone his team would recognize instantly. The calm before the storm. Laurent picked up the card between his thumb and forefinger, as if it were contaminated. He glanced at the photo, the name, the rank. He let out a short, derisive laugh. "Commander? A likely story. Where did you get this? A costume shop? Impressive forgery." He tossed the card back onto the counter. It skittered and fell to the floor. The sound of the card hitting the marble was louder than any gunshot Marcus had ever heard. Lena gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. Around them, a few patrons had stopped their conversations, watching the scene unfold. Marcus bent down slowly and retrieved his ID. He wiped it clean on his polo shirt, his movements measured, precise. He looked Laurent dead in the eye. "You have 3 seconds to apologize to my wife and to me," Marcus said, each word a shard of ice. "Or what?" Laurent sneered, leaning forward. "You'll call your little sailor friends? This is my domain. Your play pretend rank means nothing here. Now, get out before I have you removed." Marcus didn't move. He reached into his other pocket and pulled out a device that looked like a rugged, heavy-duty smartphone. It was a secure tactical communicator, a direct, encrypted link to his command and beyond. With the press of a single recessed button, the device hummed to life, a soft green light pulsing rhythmically. Laurent rolled his eyes. A fancy toy. Security. But before any security could arrive, a calm, Synthesized female voice emitted from a device. Identity confirmed. Commander Marcus Thorne, USN. Priority 1 authentication active. Go ahead, Commander. The restaurant fell utterly silent. The jazz music seemed to fade away. This is Commander Thorne. He spoke clearly into the device, his gaze never leaving Lawrence's now wavering face. I am at the Versailles restaurant. I am reporting a Code 73, obstruction of a senior officer. The individual, Henri Laurent, has willfully disrespected and impeded me and has mishandled my military identification. Request immediate JAG liaison and base commander dispatch. The voice responded instantly, sharp and clear. Acknowledge, Commander. Stand by. Signal is being triangulated. The situation is being elevated to NETWARCOM. Lauren's face had lost its smugness, replaced by a confused pallor. Net, what? What is this, a prank? The patrons were now openly staring, phones discreetly recording. Lena stood by Marcus's side, her back straight, a look of fierce pride on her face. Then the first sound began. It was a low, distant thrumming, felt in the chest before it was heard by the ears. The thrumming grew steadily louder, resolving into the unmistakable, aggressive chop of helicopter rotor blades. Not one, but multiple. A woman near the window screamed, pointing upward. Everyone rushed to the floor-to-ceiling windows. Screaming out of the night sky were two MH-60 Seahawk helicopters, their Navy markings clear, powerful searchlights spearing down and illuminating the entire street in a stark, blue-white glare. The downwash from their rotors shook the very foundations of the building, sending discarded napkins and menus flying in a whirlwind. Before Laurent could even process this, a convoy of vehicles screeched to a halt on the street below. Two Humvees with naval-base markings disgorged a squad of armed Master-at-Arms personnel. They were followed by a sleek, black sedan. From the sedan emerged a man in the crisp, service-dress blue uniform of a Navy captain, his chest a tapestry of ribbons. He was followed by a stern-looking woman in a business suit, carrying a briefcase, a JAG lawyer. The captain, his face a mask of cold fury, marched straight into the restaurant, the armed sailors securing the entrance. The diners parted like the Red Sea. He walked directly up to Marcus and snapped a perfect salute. Commander Thorne, Captain John Shaw, base commander. We received a priority 1 from NETWARCOM. Are you or your wife harmed, sir? Marcus returned the salute. We're fine, Captain. Just dealing with a hospitality issue. Captain Shaw turned his gaze to Henri Laurent, who looked as if he were about to be sick, his body trembling against the host podium. Are you the individual who mishandled the military identification of a United States Navy commander? Shaw's voice boomed in the silent room. I didn't. He didn't look. Laurent stammered, his words dissolving into nothing. The JAG officer stepped forward. Mr. Henri Laurent, by impeding and showing contempt to a commanding officer in the United States Armed Forces, you are in violation of U.S. Code Title 10, Section 888, Article 88. That is a court-martial offense for which you, as a civilian, can be held liable in federal court. Lawrence's knees buckled. He gripped the podium for support. It was a mistake, a simple mistake. A mistake. Captain Shaw interrupted, his voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. That mistake just triggered a national security protocol that scrambled 2 multi-million-dollar aircraft and a rapid response team. We are at a heightened threat level. Commander Thorne just returned from a classified mission, and you decided to play gatekeeper. The reality of the situation finally crushed Laurent. Tears began to stream down his face. Please, my job, my reputation. Marcus watched him, the anger receding, replaced by a profound, weary sadness. He looked at the terrified man, then at the stunned, wealthy patrons, and then at his wife. This wasn't the victory he wanted. He stepped forward, and the entire room held its breath. Captain, Marcus said, his voice calm but firm, stand down the legal action. Shaw looked at him, stunned. Commander? This isn't the way, Marcus said, his eyes on Laurent. I don't want his life ruined. That's not the service I swore to uphold. He walked right up to the podium, stopping inches from the broken maitre d'. You wanted to see my rank? Marcus said, his voice low, but carrying to every corner of the room. You think it's about the uniform, the insignia? You're wrong. My rank isn't demonstrated by a piece of plastic or a patch on a sleeve. He gestured to the helicopters still hovering outside, their searchlights creating a cathedral of light around the restaurant. My rank is a responsibility I carry for the lives of the men and women under my command. It's the weight of the decisions I've had to make in the darkest places on Earth. It's the sacrifice of birthdays and anniversaries and quiet dinners with my wife. It's earned in blood, sweat, and a commitment to something far bigger than myself. That is my rank, and you, sir, could never comprehend it. He turned away from Laurent, whose head was bowed in utter shame. Captain, Marcus said, addressing Shaw, please recall the assets. This situation is contained. He then turned to Lena, offering her his arm. Mrs. Thorne, it seems our reservation was, in fact, lost. I know a great little diner that makes the best cheeseburgers, and they've never once cared what I was wearing. As they walked out, past the sailors, past the humiliated maitre d', and past the patrons who now looked at them with a mixture of awe and shame, the helicopters above began to peel away, their thunder receding into the night. They stepped out into the illuminated street, the air fresh from a rain. Lena leaned her head on his shoulder. You didn't have to do that, she said softly. Let him off the hook. Marcus took a deep breath. I didn't do it for him, Lena. I did it for us. I won't let his prejudice define our night or my service. Our victory isn't in his destruction. It's in our integrity. He looked up at the clearing sky, the stars beginning to peek through the clouds. The real battle, he realized, wasn't always on a foreign battlefield. Sometimes it was on the home front, in the quiet, insidious moments of disrespect. And the greatest victory was walking away with your honor and your humanity, not just intact, but strengthened. For the first time all night, Commander Marcus Thorne felt truly at peace. Like this story? Subscribe for more powerful dramas about overcoming injustice and prejudice. Hit the bell to never miss a video.